How are you, girl?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for coming in to the Firebaugh Middle School Working Hard podcast and hanging out with me and Miss Garcia today. And you're the first former student who we brought in the chat, and really the purpose of our conversations is to kind of share our story of our kids and our community and our staff. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to be able to provide our kids an opportunity to kind of share their story on how we can do our work better in the classroom, on campus, and with our students. And when I saw you last year, I think it was last year at the Christmas after school program, it was like, how can you be working and have already graduated already? Because you just seemed like you were just with us. So it was, it made me feel good and proud that seeing you grow up to the young lady that you've become and giving back to the community was just really awesome to see. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. School?
School's good. It's going.
Mm-hmm. What, for those that don't know, you work in the after-school program at Mills.
Yes.
What led you to get into a situation where you wanted to give back to the younger kids in that program?
Well, growing up, my mom always forced me to be in the after-school program, and I hated it because I didn't like having to go to school after school. But my after-school program tutors and the people who ran it, they made it fun. You know, they kind of didn't make it feel like, oh, I was going to school after school. Yeah. I kind of felt like I was just going to hang out with my friends for a couple more hours after. And when I graduated, I actually started working with the district as like a substitute aide. And then
now, as a substitute aide, because we've been talking about that, and we have such a need right now for a bilingual aide for our students that speak Arabic. Did you help provide that type of support as an aide?
I did, for a couple of students that didn't speak English. I would translate for them, but then I would work with like the special ed department and like just all around. And they had me at like every campus too, so I wasn't just like focused on one grade level. But then I had sisters who also worked with like, because the organization is called Teaching Fellows, and they worked with it like all over Fresno, and they loved it. So I applied for it because, you know, it's just an extra opportunity to work with kids and give back. So I applied and I got the job, and I loved it. I love working there. I love working with kids.
Your parents did not have like a higher level formal education.
No.
As you shared with me.
They did not.
Yeah. How did your parents end up in Firebaugh?
Honestly, I have no idea.
You don't know?
No, but I mean, we have family that live all over, but my mom's, because it was my mom's family that came in here first, and they're like all in like Riverdale and like the Hanford area. So my dad just found Firebaugh and he liked it. It's a small town. I like it. I love Firebaugh.
Where were you born?
I was born in Fresno.
You were born in Fresno, okay.
Yeah.
So born and raised here in the valley, but parents are from Yemen.
Yes.
Have you traveled back to Yemen at all?
No, I've never traveled.
Never traveled back.
I've been to Egypt, but not to Yemen.
Oh, okay. How was that like?
It was fun.
Yeah.
I liked it.
How old were you?
How old was I?
Yeah.
I just went last year, the year before.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I stayed for a couple of months.
Months?
My brother got married, so we stayed there and we vacationed.
Okay. Is he living in Egypt?
No, he's here.
Okay.
So he came back, and then he started like paperwork for his wife and his daughter, and hopefully they'll be in soon.
Yay. Now you're bilingual? You speak Arabic?
Yes.
You write Arabic?
Yes.
English? Read, write, and speak.
Speak.
Any other language that you speak?
No. I mean, I understand Spanish, but I'm not really good when I talk it.
Yeah. What was it like as a student growing up in Firebaugh? What was it like as a student here in Firebaugh?
I don't know. I liked it. I mean, it's a small community, so everybody was like always there for each other. Like things get around fast in this small town, but I liked it. I feel like you know each other, and everybody that you know knows somebody else, and you grow up with everybody. Everybody usually stays in the small town. Hardly everybody moves out until after they graduate. But I like that.
And there's a good size Yemen population here in town.
Yeah.
How has your culture and faith impacted you as a student within our schools?
I mean, I definitely feel like it was different compared to everybody else because there's so much different beliefs and so much other things where like they're allowed to do stuff and I'm not. And I mean, sometimes like growing up, I would get so mad like, oh, how come they get to do that and I don't? But like the older I got and the more I learned about my culture, I realized why it was so strict and why everything is the way it is. But I like that. I learned to appreciate the differences between me and my friends and like between me and the people in my community.
Very accepting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. What drives you to get to where you're at today? Kind of thinking back because when you shared with me on your pre-interview, you said your parents didn't have any formal education. What led you towards possibly working in the field of education?
Actually, my parents, when they left Yemen to come to America, obviously they did it for better opportunities for themselves, but also for their kids. And, you know, they did face a lot of challenges. Like my mom had to leave her mom and my dad had to leave his family behind. And I know it's hard because, like, people always ask me, like, how come you didn't move out after high school? And I'm like, I can't leave my parents. I love them too much. So, you know, for them to do that for us, I kind of feel like it's my way of giving back to them. Like, they don't force me. Like, you don't have to go to school. But I want to because they came here to give us a better life than what they had. So I kind of feel not obligated, but I want to. Like, I want to do it.
When did it hit you that you wanted to continue your education to make your parents proud?
My junior year of high school.
Why that point?
Because I had to write an essay about what the meaning of life was, and it was just them. They were like my point of life. So that's when I was like, I'm really just doing everything for them. Like, they want me to do it for myself, and I am, but like a part of me is like, I'm not only doing it for myself, but I'm doing it for my family.
How does that fall back to your beliefs? Why is that such a driving force to push you in the direction that you're going personally and professionally? And the reason I ask that, Amel, is because, and we've shared this before, you know, even though we're adults, we still want to make our parents proud.
That's true.
We do. When I became principal here at the middle school, I remember driving home down 7, and the first person I called was my mom. You know, and so where does that come from within you?
I don't know. I feel like my parents, at least, I feel like they genuinely want to see me succeed and be successful. So when I finally do accomplish stuff, like, I know they're always the first people you can run to because it's like they genuinely want you to be happy and genuinely want you to succeed. So it's nice, you know, having those people that you can always turn to no matter what. Or like even when things don't go right, like I was telling my mom one time I was crying over a college class because I was failing. She was like, it's just a class. Like, it doesn't determine you. It's like, you fail it, take it again next semester and pass. You know, like, don't let it get to you too much. But yeah, they definitely have an impact.
Yeah. You said you've turned to your parents as part of this process. As a student, either at Bailey, Mills, here at the middle school, or at the high school, who did you turn to for kind of guidance and support to help you get through that process?
Honestly, my teachers, my teachers and my administration. I mean, I had you all of my middle school years, and then in high school, I had Mr. Berrigan and Mr. Alkire. They were always my go-tos. They were great teachers. They genuinely want to see their kids succeed. And I know you, I mean, I remember you always telling me you were my first Firebaugh friend. And, you know, I love that. Like, well,
you were, as a little 6th grader, coming in, meeting you in the front of the school.
My sister passed out.
And when your sister passed out, and we had to call the ambulance.
Yes.
Because she was fasting at the time. Yeah, and it was the middle of summer in August. And she was dehydrated.
It was Ramadan.
Yeah, it was Ramadan, and you were my first Firebaugh friend, and lo and behold, look where we're at today.
I know.
You know, and but why did because that's a pretty mature act to be able to have that working relationship with teachers and adults on campus. Why did you feel that was important?
I felt like that wasn't. I mean, my parents have always told me since I was younger that Well, actually, everybody has always told me that I act older than my age, that
Yeah.
my mentality is way older than my actual age. But I feel like it's because I've always been surrounded by older people my entire life. So, like,
How many siblings do you have?
I have 7.
7. Where do you fall in the line of 7?
I'm the seventh out of 8.
Oh, okay.
So there's one more after me. Dua.
Okay. Dua.
But yeah, I've always thought, I don't really like the mature mentality. So I've always thought older, and there was a lot of people my age who like had that young mentality, and I didn't like that because that young mentality is not going to get you anywhere in life. So I always, wanted like an older person's perspective. Like that's why I would always turn to older people. Like, what do you think? What do you think? Because they've experienced life. They can give me advice that's actually useful.
Yeah.
So that's why
And that's important as part of our responsibility as educators. Is we've shared this with our teachers, and we're a firm believer. We don't hire a piece of paper in regards to credential. We hire a person. We don't hire paper. We hire people, and the people that we hire, we need to make sure that they're the best people in front of our students. That's going to make the best impact on, or most impact on them as well. What situation growing up in either middle school or high school was a challenge that caused you to turn to an adult to help support you through that challenge? Because I know you shared with me that you weren't able to, like, you really weren't involved in extracurricular activities.
oh yeah, I wasn't.
Okay,
like I have an example. Like when I was in high school, you would have to do, you need this amount of hours in order to graduate, or you need to do this,
community
do
service
that.
hours.
Yeah, but there was, or I don't know how to explain it. Like my friends would play like volleyball, and they play basketball, and they played all these sports, and like in the portfolio it does ask you like what extracurricular activities you're in, and I kind of didn't do anything because I was never allowed to play sports, and I was never allowed to do any of that. So I would turn like, what is an alternative? What else can I put in? What else can I, and my teachers understood. Like they never degraded me, like, oh, how come you can't do sports? Or they never judged me for it.
They never questioned that.
Yeah, they never questioned like, how come you don't do it? Like they kind of just knew where I was coming from.
Sure.
So they always like, oh yeah, there's always something else you can do. They never made me feel like it's either this or that. Like if there's any other possibilities, then they definitely helped me with it.
How did you make up those hours?
The community service hours, I cleaned up my dad's stores.
Okay. And that was one of the things that you put as a hobby.
Cleaning. I love cleaning.
Yeah. What teacher or administrator inspired you to, again, head in towards the direction of possibly working in education?
Honestly, Mr. Alkire.
Why?
And there was moments in class when I'd just be like, I'm just going to drop out. I don't want to finish school. But
And math was your favorite subject?
I loved math, yeah. But I also had him for business math. I didn't even have to take the class, but I just enjoyed his presence because he would always preach, and everybody knows Alkire for preaching in his classes. And I would always tell him like, oh, I'm just going to drop out. I don't want to do it anymore. Like just joking around, but he never took that as a joke. He always took it so serious, and he'd always pull me to the side and he'd always be like, you have too much potential. You're too smart. Don't talk like that. There's so much you can do. And honestly, I never had somebody in my life like that. Like every time, like even with my family, if I joke around, like I'm just going to drop out, they'd be like, do it, but Alkire, he never took it as a joke. He always pushed me to be better. And honestly, I feel like that's what I needed. I honestly feel like if it was not for him, I wouldn't be in school.
And you're in year 3 at Fresno State?
Yes.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying right now social work with a certificate in public health.
Okay. Why social work?
Because when I started working with the school, I had no idea that one of my students was actually a foster care student. And that touched me, and it just made me want to, because so many people think like foster care student and they like label them, and they're really just normal students. So ever since I started working with her, I just feel bad because I like their life is hard and nobody knows, and people just judge the label foster child. So I really got into, I actually was going into college for business, and then I changed my major because of her. So now I'm doing social work.
And coming from a very well-structured family, how did it impact you on how you observed and worked with the student to help you lead yourself in that direction with social work?
Well, seeing how my family is with themselves, and I have a lot of nephews and nieces, and I see the way my sisters are with their kids, and they don't like yelling. That's what I noticed. My mom, she was always big on yelling. She thought like yelling would scare us, and I mean, not that it would scare us, but like she knew if we yelled, like, we knew, like, we have to get it done. But with my sisters, they're very calm with their kids, and they listen, which is like, I feel like it's changed over generations, because definitely I see so many people who yell at their kids, and generations now they're very calm with their kids, but their kids understand that now being calm is scarier than being loud. But definitely being calm and like understanding why they're feeling like that. Like my sister, she doesn't yell at her kids when they're mad. You know, she's telling like, why are you mad, and why are you? And that really helped me with my students, because sometimes students, they don't just open up to you. You know, you have to kind of like crack it with them. So
you have to gain that trust and respect with them for them to open up to you.
So like at first my students, they were very shy, because like I was new to the job, but they adapted to me and I adapted to them. And now like they'll always come to me like, Miss Yehia, this is why I'm sad and this is why I'm feeling like this. And I love that. I love having that bond with my kids.
What a trip, huh? To kind of see Amel growing to this amazing young lady. And I know Miss Garcia is proud of you, and you know, you and I have always kept in touch since you've left here. And you know, again, we're one of the things that we've always pushed here at the middle school is establishing really quality work relationships with our kids. And you being my first friend here at Firebaugh, you've just been an example of that. And you getting into social work is such an inspiring thing to hear, because our students so need that type of support, because not all of our students have that structured nuclear family like you and we've been able to grow up in, and to have someone to turn to, especially now. And we're seeing a lot with our distance learning in regards to some of the challenges our kids are having and how disconnected they are, just not to their learning, but to their peers and to their families, because they're locked in the four walls. And it just creates different stressors now in this environment. As we wrap things up, one of the things that we've talked about is inspiring others or being inspired by some. And so let's, as you know, our school motto here is work hard and finish strong. So let's finish this conversation strong. And specific to the middle school, because I believe middle schools are pretty formidable years, you know. And what and who inspired you at the middle school level that led you on the correct path when moving into high school? Because that transition is kind of hard from middle school to high school, because it's completely different. Because, you know, now at the high school, each class is worth 5 credits, and you have so many credits to graduate. You have your community service hours you need to do. You need your 2.0. You have your A through G. Who helped you on the right path in preparation for high school here at the middle school?
Oh my gosh, I have a lot. First, Miss Madrigal. I love Miss Madrigal. And then Mr. Mitsuoka. I don't think he works here anymore, huh?
Mr. Yeah. Mitsuoka.
Mr. Mitsuoka and you and Miss St. Lucia. They like, I loved my middle school years. They were so fun. But I don't know.
I'm not the only one. I always share my middle school stories with Miss Garcia.
Yeah.
She goes, how is middle school so fun?
People always tell me, or I say, oh my God, I miss high school. And they're like, how do you miss high school? And I'm like, I don't know. I just miss it. But I mean, middle school didn't feel like I had to come to school. It kind of felt like they made me like you and the others, they made me want to be there, you know, because I knew like, oh, I'm not just going to learn, but I'm also going to make connections and relationships with my administrations and my teachers. So what
did St. Lucia do that inspired you?
She was just fun. Like I would talk to her even about my personal life, and she always just made me feel like, oh yeah, like she's big on family. So, and I'm huge on family too. Yeah. So we always connected on that part. And then Mitsuoka he was my math teacher, and I loved math, and he made math fun. So I was always having a blast in there.
And Madrigal?
I think she missed the first semester. I think she had a baby. But the second semester she came back, and she was just, as if she never missed first semester, you know, she was just right on top of her game. But she was always pushing us, like, and she was cool too, you know. She never let one person step on the other. Like, you know, we all have like those bullies in class, and she never let it pass. And she was just fun. She was like my homegirl.
Do you remember any of the tests from any of those classes?
I don't remember anything. Okay.
But you remember those conversations. You remember that connection that you had, and the importance that it's and the impact that it has had on you as a young lady girl.
Yeah, definitely.
How awesome. Well, Amel, I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
You've grown into an amazing young lady, and I can't wait to see what life brings you, because whatever it does, I know you're going to have an impact on others, as you already are doing now down at Mills as the after school program support provider. So any last words before we wrap it up?
Work hard and finish strong.
Work hard and finish strong. 8 years later, and she still have it. Well, Amel, thank you for coming in for the Working Hard podcast. Know again how much we appreciate you and how proud we are of you, and I'm glad that you welcomed me into Firebaugh as my first friend of Firebaugh.
I'm glad I was.
So thank you, and tell Dua hello.
I will.
You know, I know. I'm sure she wanted to be here with us too.
Probably all jealous.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. So, but we have her quote here on campus, so we're good to go.
She has a quote here, and I don't.
Yeah. All right, girlie. Thanks for coming in.
No,